right? And I ended up being able to go through this entire game without looking up any answers, and I think anyone can do that, right? This game isn't that entirely difficult. It's just very frustrating at first when you don't realize all these things that are presented to you, right? You don't realize that certain rooms are impossible. You don't realize that you need to take all these tools that you are presented to you and just keep doing it over and over again, repeating the process. You just go up this room, right? You notice this is an elevator door. Well, looks like one, and you want to go up there, but you can't. But you notice you can go down here. You just go down here. It's a line, right? Right, just trying to make you go through it. So it says, getting where we want may require jumping through. So it's the very same process before. Remember, when you see these red lines, one triggers the door to close up and down, right? Go up or down, or an elevator to go up and down. The second one would trigger it, and this arrow is telling me I'm going the right way. Trigger it to go up. But I cheated. I jumped, right? First time you do it, you don't realize this. See? Trigger it to go down. So trigger it to go up. You notice that it pushed you a little bit closer to it, to where you couldn't walk forward, but you can jump, right? So you can keep doing this over and over again, right? And you end up realizing if you jump with the push, right, the force, then you end up going high. If you try to jump irregularly, like off beat, you're not going to go as high. And that's just trial and error. I ended up having to realize that by jumping on that elevator multiple times. End up realizing that's the best thing I can do, right? Let me try jumping regular. So you go through here, right? You jump, you try to jump off time, you're not going to go as high, right? But if you jump with the force, then you end up going high. It shows you here. This was the poster you've seen before. This is the poster, the new one. It's saying throwing yourself into things can take you to new heights, right? We can go through the same process. You end up realizing you have to go through the same process. Elevator goes down. Place the blue cube down. You remember before, right? There was a room up there that you couldn't really get to, right? But you realize what you can do is you can jump with an elevator, with the force of something, end up going to a higher place. So we're gonna try to do that. Here we go. The only reason why I went up here was because there's an arrow, right? Otherwise, I don't really worry about it. If this game is pushing me naturally to the right direction by giving me arrows, right, then that's what I'm gonna follow, right? And if this room is green and it has no arrow, I'm not gonna do it, right? But this has an arrow, that's fine. Well, that's the only reason why I came up here. Right. So you realize, place a blue cube. Yeah. Says what we've done before may impact what we can do next. Okay, okay, so this is where we started. This door can't open. So close it. It may seem really difficult because there's a bunch of doors, right? And you look at it, it may seem overwhelming. It's like, wow, this is impossible, right? But just take things. If you take things one step at a time, right? That's really all you can do. Is just take things one step at a time. End up realizing that you'll naturally just go to the right place. Okay? If you get lost and confused, you can always just come back to the start, right? And try it again. Okay? Go to the start. You've opened this door so far. This one, it just seems weird, right? It's not gonna lead in. It goes back to. And these glass doors I can't get through. So the only natural thing to do is to go here. You take this cube. Because you've done that before, right? You see what happens when you take cubes. You placing it here. Now you can move forward. You move forward. Same thing. See, you can take cubes, right? And that opens and doors, opens and closes doors. So you just place it in. Right? Something you naturally done before. You see here, there's one cube already placed here, right? That triggers half of the door, but you need one more cube. Okay, so you try to look back and see if you can take a cube. You can take this cube. That's pretty simple. It's right in front of you. Then this one needs 1. This one needs 4. Okay. This one's this close. And this was from the previous room before, if you didn't notice. So you try to take a cube. You can't take the other one because right now. Well, based on what was presented to you. Okay, so you try to put this cube in here. You see there's the green gun. There it is. Right? You see that if I were able to get 4 cubes, right? Well, I only have 1 cube with me. If I was able to get 3 more cubes, right? Then I can go through that door, right? Probably get this green gun, right? You can see there's the directions of how to do things how to get rid of green blocks, right? They're naturally in the way of you, right? And that's the next step, right? Because it's right there in front of you, right? You would think, right? It doesn't tell you anywhere it says, okay, get the blue gun, the green gun, yellow gun, stuff, right? There's nowhere in this game where it tells you to do that, but it just seems like the natural step because right in front of you it says it's the green gun, so let's try to get the green gun. It's not like you have to figure out, okay, do I have to get the yellow one and the green one? You just keep moving forward, and then you just naturally see one in front of you. Okay, let's try. But, so you did 1 cube. It says, if you're only focusing on right now, you won't have enough for later. Right? And this is very similar to, what was it? If you think about what this picture is representing, it's talking about saving money, right? You look at this poster, it's saying, you naturally think of someone that gained a lot of money, right? And just spent it really fast. All of a sudden, you have no money left. So what you want to do is you want to save the cubes that you had before. And we've done that so far, right? We saved all the cubes that we've done before. And if we couldn't take it with us, we just had to throw it away based on rooms that made the cubes vanish, right? And when you see escape, that's most likely dead end, right? Because escape takes you back to where the previous room, right? And you try to think of ways of trying to get the blue cube, like blue cubes into this place, and you end up realizing you can't do that. It's not possible to do that. And then you try figuring out, okay, can I get the yellow gun then, right? And you realize that's impossible as well. But for me, like that's what I've done, right? I would spend another hour trying to go through, get the yellow gun, spent another hour trying to do all the other rooms, and they just seem impossible to do, right? After all that frustration, I would have to go back into this room. You look at the title, it says not enough pieces. And that's kind of like a hint saying, it seems like I don't have enough pieces because I needed 3 more blue cubes, right? But you go back to it, and you try to think of what you've done before in order to progress forward, right? And you remember, if you go back to this previous room, what you ended up having to do is this is when the first time you got your blue gun, right? You went through all this. You try to think of all of the ways you solved the problem, right? And if you remember going through this, you end up remembering that you had to take what you had forward, right? All the cubes that you had, was it? You end up realizing you just take all the cubes that you've had before, but in the, I don't know how to say it. But you end up realizing you take these cubes, right? And you can't do anything with them when you're going forward, right? So you end up go backwards and see if you can get more cubes behind you, right? You end up getting, and then you end up getting one extra cube than you had before, right? And you're able to move forward because of that. Right? That was the first problem that you solved, right, when you got the blue, right? So let's try to apply that with this room, right? Let's try to see when we move all the way to as forward as we possibly can we work backwards and get more cubes, right? And that's just based on what you've done before, what this puzzle, right, this game has presented to you already. I need to get back. I just need to go a little bit. Take this cube. Use this cube. Go to the left. Just go naturally forward. Whatever seems like the right step. Right. And instead of taking this cube and placing it there, and then going forward and only having one cube, right, and going through that same process again, let's see what happens if I take this cube back, go backwards with it. See what happens when we do that. Let's try to go to the first step. You end up realizing you can take this cube, right? And go what seemed like a useless door now seems extremely useful because you're able to use this cube and go forward. Now you can take this cube, right? And now you don't have to go left. You can just go right because of this cube. Right? Now you can take this cube. And there's no need to go backwards. Take this. And through trial and error you end up realizing you need one more cube, right? And you try to find ways of getting all these cubes. And this one, right, you can get by placing a cube up here, which is something that you've seen done to you before, right? When you get the blue gun for the first time, you've seen that it's possible to place a cube up here, right, from here to up here, keep this door open. So once you take this blue cube, the door stays open, right? You take this blue cube, there's no need to go backwards. Now you have 3 cubes. Same thing here. Place a cube up here, now you can take these 2 cubes, and this door stays open. Take this cube. Now you have place 2 here, and you can see, keep this door open, right, with another cube. Now you can see you have 4 cubes. The 1 in your gun, you can take 2 here, you can take this one. There's no need to go backward. Now you have 4. Moving forward may require the most of what you got. That's what it's just saying, that you were presented with 4 cubes in that first room, right? And it took perfectly 4 cubes to move on.